Hey everyone, this is Elisa, and I thought I'd do a little sharing today. Just quick information on some OER resources that I use when I design my courses. And I know that many of you are out there trying to design online courses for the fall, and I think these resources will be helpful for you. I'm not going to go into a lot of details of how to get them into your Canvas course, but if you want to know how to do that, just contact me and I'll show you some steps on how to include some of these things into your own Canvas courses. The key thing to remember is that we already have textbooks that we use, and we have two different versions. One, the online courses and the hybrid courses use a McGraw-Hill textbook, so you'll see a little bit of that in my demonstration. But then on the other side, I don't remember what you guys all have over there, but I do know that you have a digital component, so you might have similar access to some of the things that we have with the McGraw-Hill Connect. So the first thing I want to show you is that even though I do have a textbook that I use, and I do assign those chapters for students to read, and we'll take a quick look at week 2, which is where we are right now in my Summer 101 class. And so I do have a textbook that students will read chapters on, and so when I scroll down here, I can link out to those chapters because we use a digital online handbook. And so when students click on that chapter, they can go over to Connect and read that. And you might be able to do that with the other textbook that we're using as well. But I also find that there are sometimes content that my book doesn't cover as well as I would want it to, and so I find these handouts that I want for students to read. And so I add these links to these handouts. And students say that they like the handouts better because they're just built right into Connect. So you can see that I've copy and pasted this content right into a Connect or a Canvas page. Sorry, I said Connect earlier, but I meant Canvas. So where did this content come from? And so as you scroll down, you can see that there's some pretty good information about writing an illustration essay. And at the very bottom, I've included this statement. This page is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share Alike. And basically, it has a Creative Commons license. And if you're familiar with OER, basically the content that we use with OER, that content always has some sort of a creative content license. And so where did this content come from? Well, the first place I want to show you is Lumen Learning. And Lumen Learning is a company that provides OER courses for faculty. And basically, they have all of these different categories. And if we look in humanities and languages, you can see that they have American Lit, English Comp 1, Comp 2, which lines up very similar to our 101 and 102. They have English literature, they have a guide to writing, introduction to literature, etc., and even some reading stuff, and a writing skills lab. But if you click on any of these courses, you will see, click on English 101, Composition 1, and they just updated this, so if you're familiar with it, you might want to go back and look at it again because they've added some new content. And you can see that the table of contents is pretty extensive. And so you can use any of this content to add into your courses because it is OER, it's Creative Commons license. So let's say that you want for students to write an argumentative essay, but you want them to read a little bit about argumentation first. And again, they probably have a chapter in the textbook that they purchased, but this could possibly eliminate your textbook altogether once you get used to using the content. But they provide learning objectives at the beginning, which is a strategy that all online courses are required to have. When you introduce content, you need to match everything up. They call it aligning things with your course objectives. And then we break those course objectives down, because ours are really huge in composition. We break them down into more manageable, we call them SLOs, student learning objectives. And here they have written them for you. So as you can see, I can copy all of this content and paste it into my course. And so all of the formatting will hold if I just cut and paste this. And then you want to also make sure that you grab the license. So it might seem weird that you have to add this, but when the license is CC by attribution, it means that it's Creative Commons. It means you can use it, you can add it to your class, but you just need to give attribution, say where it came from. And the way that you do that is just to copy all of this. So basically when I add this to my page, I literally just copy and paste all of this content over into a Canvas course. If I go into my course here, I'll try to do this quickly, and go into Pages, and then I have a template that I'll just quickly paste this in, just so you can see how it formats. And then, of course, once you go back in, you can delete the content that you don't want to add. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into this blank white space here and just paste. And so there's my attribution. I'd probably add that somewhere in my template, but let me just go ahead and save this. And again, I would clean it up a little bit, take away some of these spaces, but we don't have time to do all that now. So I'm going to save this just so you can see that it doesn't take a lot of effort to cut and paste. All right, so here's the part that I cut and paste. That picture was flush right, and I can edit that to make it flush right if I want to. And then again, all the text that goes along with it, including the bold and the outline format, all of that holds. And so there's really little that you have to do if you want to use this in your class. Okay, so that's the first thing that I wanted to show you. So if you, I'll leave the links below so you can get this. So you can go back and look at the Comp 1 and the Comp 2 course in Lumen Learning and choose any of this content that you want. What I also like about it is they provide assignments. So for all of these assignments, let's say I wanted to assign this illustration essay. And again, the instructions are there for them, but the best part for me is that they also have a rubric. And so I can just copy this rubric into the Canvas rubric format, and then I will be able to use that rubric to grade. Okay, now all of this works together as a course. It's designed as a course. I don't use it as a complete course, but it does go in order, and it tells you about this course, the course content at a glance. It goes through the learning outcomes. So it does have resources for faculty, etc. Okay. Now another research that I came about is called The Blueprint for Success in College, Indispensable Study Skills and Time Management Strategies. And so again, this is another book. You can download this book and read it for yourself, but it's Creative Commons. So this book means that this license means that you can use any of it that you want to use. And so again, I'm going to scroll down and show you the contents. So basically it's about study skills, but in my English 101 class, I like to include a module that includes a lot of study skills. So I have all of these chapters that I could choose from that will help students talk about time management, critical thinking and reading, listening and note-taking. I mean, obviously I wouldn't use all of this, but there are some things. Like in the beginning, I have students writing about college and why they're there. And so I could assign this chapter for them to read. And so you can see the chapters laid out in a nice format. Again, it would be easy for me to download this PDF version, or I can cut and paste. The license is right here. Okay, and so that just means I need to copy this part of it as well, so that I'm giving attribution. Okay. All right, so Creative Commons Attribution License. So I need to copy all of this and put it underneath anything that I copy. Okay, so again, this book I can highlight and take notes because it's created in a tool called Pressbooks. And Maricopa just signed on a license to make Pressbooks available to all of the faculty in the district. So if you want more information about that, let me know. But basically, I have my annotation sidebar here because they're using another tool called iAnnotate. So again, another video in the future. So anyway, go back to the table of contents. Maybe you can find a chapter in here that you would like to share with your students as some reading. And the last thing I wanted to show you is the Excelsior Online Writing Lab. I use this pretty extensively in my 102 class because it offers a lot of resources. So I'm right now on in the argument and critical thinking chapter, and I'm providing a example essay, argument essay for my students. And so I can embed this into Canvas again, and students can see this. Or I could just download this. If I click on this link, you'll see that it opens up as a PDF, and I can download this PDF and then just add it to Canvas so students can read it there. but it's annotated so that students can see exactly what the student in this essay is doing. So here they're highlighting the thesis, and then as they go through, it also shows them how to do the MLA formatting if you're assigning MLA formatting for the students, and how to quote and use quotes. Okay, so here it says, here the presenter presents grounds. So I use the Toolman method in argument, and so this follows that. So going back to that page, you can see along here is the table of contents. So if I wanted to teach students about the Toolman, I could go into this part of the Excelsior Online Writing Lab, and I can provide this for students. Okay, and then I can go down and say, let's just talk about the different types of argument. Why is it asking me for a password? And then again, these are like little presentations. So if I click next, it's going to take me to the next part of that presentation. And there is Mr. Stephen Toolman himself, right? And so again, it goes through the claims, the grounds, the warrant. And so again, all of this can be easily added to your Canvas, not necessarily using this one by cut and paste. I mean, cut and paste might work, but they have built in a way to add this widget into your Canvas. So again, if you want help on how to do that, just let me know. But all you have to do is register for Excelsior College or the Writing Lab, and then once you log in, you'll have an area where you can save your pieces that you want to include in there. And there's a lot of things. So it's not just the Writing Lab, but there's the Reading Lab, there's the Educators, where you can talk about rubrics and things like that. So Writing Lab has all of these different categories. I use the Avoiding Plagiarism area, and it talks about plagiarism. So again, these are little presentations that students will read through. And I'm not logged in, that's why it keeps asking me to log in. All right, so we can see here that there's 17 pages to this little slideshow. And again, you can add this right here, some embed code. You can embed that right into your Canvas and have students go through that. Okay, so I just wanted to share with you 3 different methods of OER free content that you can use in your college or in your Canvas courses that you're building for this summer. So Excelsior Writing Lab, the Blueprint for Success in College book, and then the Lumen Learning different courses here. Okay, so I use a lot of this. I got a good lesson on the Introduction to Literature on how to write analysis. And so I added that to my African American Lit class. So although I don't have African American Lit in Lumen to take from, literature is literature, right? And so I can go through and view the course content and use all of this content. So it works well with your existing textbooks. But again, once you get brave, I don't recommend you doing this up front, but once you get settled into a course, you might do away with that expensive textbook that you're using, especially if you're teaching lit. Okay, because a lot of this literature, you can see here, fiction, there's a lot of stuff that is freely available for students to read. Look at all this great stuff. Emily Dickinson, Robert Frost, Edgar Allan Poe, and you know, all of this stuff is in the Creative Commons. And what I like too is here you can see that they can listen to it, but they can also read it, and they'll give you links to reading that stuff as well. So if I read and listen on the web, and there it is. So here's the poem, and if I wanted to listen to it.
The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, read by Chris Orange.
So where does this stuff come from if you're not familiar with it? Project Gutenberg. I actually read, I can't even remember what I read, it's been so long. But they have this thing called LibriVox, where it allows for people like us that are passionate about literature to read poems that then are provided to the audience to read and listen to, just like we're listening to this one.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary.
Some people really get into it, it's kind of fun, but see how they've provided the attribution, because it's Creative Commons. So they add where it came from and who's reading it, and then that's all you have to do if you add this to your course. Okay, that's it. This is a very long video, but I hope you appreciate it.